Station Houston, Space to Ground 2. We are 1 minute out from the PAO event. Copy, thumbs up. Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, I'm ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
I have you loud and clear.
Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hello everyone, I'm thrilled to welcome you to this extraordinary event where we have a unique opportunity to connect directly with astronauts aboard the International Space Station. Today we are not just spectators, we are participants in an awe-inspiring world of space exploration. As we embark on this journey, I encourage you to let your curiosity soar and your imagination take flight. Remember, each question you ask is a step towards unraveling the mysteries of the universe. So get ready to be inspired as we bridge the gap between Earth and space and discover the wonders that await beyond our planet.
Hey Auntie, my question is, what's the oddest behavior you've had to adjust to while floating around the station?
Levi! Buddy, the oddest thing I think is that, my bedroom or crew quarters is in the floor or the deck. The treadmill's on the wall, the weightlifting machine is on the wall, and oftentimes you'll be talking to somebody and they're just popping out from the ceiling. And so you have to get used to talking to people upside down or sideways and, used to floating around the space station in all sorts of directions and different ways of communication. One of the other things that's kind of odd is we get like one pair of pants for the whole month, one t-shirt for the week, and we can't wash clothes up here, so we just throw them away when we're done and they burn up in the atmosphere. So a bunch of odd behaviors that we have to adapt to up here in space.
Hi, my name's Ryan, and my question is, if you could invite a fictional character to experience this with you, who would it be and why?
Great question, Ryan. I've thought about this a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm kind of torn. I think Peter Quill would be pretty cool. He's got a cool friend group. He's resourceful. He knows the whole space thing. He's got a good taste in music. But also, the magic carpet from Aladdin would be pretty cool, because then you could go ride wherever you wanted to in the universe.
Hi, my name is Bryson. How do you get back to Earth?
Hey, Bryson. So we came up in a spacecraft called the Dragon. It was launched on a couple rockets, and once the first and second stage rockets were done, we left them behind on Earth or in the atmosphere. And now our Dragon spacecraft is docked right here to the International Space Station, and it's ready to go whenever we're ready to go. So we'll get in the spacecraft, we'll close the hatch, and then we'll detach. It has a trunk on it with solar arrays, so it can provide electricity and it can provide heat and all of the different life support systems that we need to survive. And then it's got thrusters on it, so we do what we call a deorbit burn, and we come back through the atmosphere. Some parachutes will deploy, and then we'll land in the Pacific Ocean. A ship will come pick us up. We'll get on a helicopter to fly to California, and then we'll get on a jet and we'll fly home to Houston.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. My question is, what is the most unexpected thought or realization you've had while being at the station?
Hey, John. I love that question. I think that one of the coolest things is getting to look out the window. I know you guys have seen that view from my iPad a couple times, but looking out the window at the Earth is so cool. It's just a different perspective that we get up here. And, you know, I've kind of learned in geography in class, like you guys are learning, there are lines and there are solid colors that delineate between the different countries and the different states, but up here there's none of that. And so we can see the different continents, and we can see the different terrain and the mountains and the lakes and the rivers and cities. And so learning my geography based on color and terrain rather than lines and country names. So just seeing the world and seeing that we're all just one humanity living there on Earth has been one of the coolest realizations that I've had, getting to look back at this beautiful Earth.
Hi, my name is Violet, and my question is, what is the most unusual use you found for Velcro on the space station?
So Velcro on the space station is used everywhere. You can see I've got some on my pants. I stick everything to my pants if I need to put something down. But recently I lost my spoon, and it floated off into the Russian segment, and somebody found it and brought it back to me. So I put a little piece of Velcro on my spoon so I can keep it next to the table and not lose it again. And then another technique I was given was to use the Velcro on your flashlight. You can use it as a back scratcher. The tough part of the Velcro there is a great way to scratch your back in places your hands can't reach.
Hi, my name is Madeline. My question is, how did you pick your zero-G indicator?
Hey, Maddie girl. So our zero-G indicator, here he is. I brought him with me today. His name's Druk, or Druk. That's the Russian word for friend. And crew 10, the 10 on the wings there, you can see it. We were sitting around the table at dinner one day trying to figure out what we were going to use as our zero-G indicator. Every crew gets to pick their own. And all four of us are pilots, and we all grew up building paper airplanes. And so we started talking about that inspiration, and we kind of also morphed into origami, and we're trying to figure out how to get paper airplane on the spacecraft. And then in the origami discussion, we found out you could order a plush origami. So we've got the stuffed animal here. It's a crane. It's also the international symbol of peace. So Crew 10, we're all about friendship and international cooperation. That's how we all got here. That's why we're on the International Space Station. And so we thought this was a perfect example of who our crew is. And it was a great way to show off that we were in space with our zero-G indicator. And in fact, Maddie, if you or any of your classmates or schoolmates have an idea for a zero-G indicator, you can actually go online and look up the Moon Mascot Competition. It's a challenge to see the Artemis 2 crew. They're asking the world to come up with an idea for their zero-G indicator. So if you guys have any good ideas, look it up online and put it out there, and maybe you'll see your zero-G indicator headed over to the moon.
Hi, my name is Oliver. My question is, how does the space station stay in the sky without falling?
Hey, Oliver. So we are high and fast above the Earth, about 250 miles above the Earth, and 17,500 miles an hour is how fast we're going. So we're actually being pulled down to the Earth. We're actually technically falling, but we're so high and fast that as we fall, we just miss the Earth, and we go into an orbit, and we just keep missing the Earth. So it's an orbital mechanics discussion, but we're being pulled back to Earth by Earth's gravity, but we're far enough away and we're fast enough that we stay up in space.
Hi, my name is Hunter, and my question is, have you ever tried to play a musical instrument on the space station, and how does it lack of gravity affect the sound?
I have not yet tried to play a musical instrument on the space station, but we do have a few musical instruments, and we've passed an iPad around and listened to each other's favorite music in the evenings. But one of the things about sound up here, so the lack of gravity doesn't necessarily affect the way that we hear things, but I brought a fun thing to show you guys. I've got a bag of tools here, and the metal is not being held down by gravity. So if you can hear that, when you move the bag around, you've got like your own built-in wind chime. This is with anything that's metal, because they're not being held by gravity, they just move around. So there are a lot of unique sounds up here on the space station.
Hi, my name is Jasleen, and my question is, how is your research contributing to advancements in areas like climate science, medicine, and technology that benefit life on Earth?
You know, at any given point in time here on the International Space Station, there are over 200 science experiments going on, whether that's outside the space station, looking out at the universe, or looking at Earth, or inside the space station. And you know, some of my favorites, actually, we can volunteer for science experiments. So I volunteered for several human experiments. And so scientists on the ground are looking at my core body temperature. I actually just took a headband off earlier today that was measuring my core temperature. I've worn a vest a couple times. It's measuring my blood pressure, my heart rate, my breathing rate and volume, all sorts of different measurements to learn how my body's adapting in space and how it adapts when we live in space for long periods of time. I'm also doing a couple studies that are looking at bone loss and cartilage, and so, you know, how do we figure out how to counteract the effects of zero gravity on the body? And so as we look at all of these things, while I'm up here for, you know, 4 to 6 months, we can then extrapolate that into longer term space flight. You know, as we go on to the moon and we explore out to all the way to Mars, we got to figure out how to get people there and get people in space for, you know, a year or two minimum sometimes. And so that's one of the things that I'm most excited about. And then all of that research is going to inform how we do life on Earth and how do we better prepare and better take care of our bodies as we adapt to life on Earth as well.
Hi, my name is Landry, and my question is, have you ever seen a shooting star from space? What did it look like?
Oh man, I have not seen a shooting star yet, but I have seen a lot of really cool satellites. I've seen a lot of really beautiful constellations. I've seen the moon a lot. I've seen some really cool lightning and auroras, so I've seen a lot, but not a shooting star yet. So I'm going to put that on my to-do list.
Hi, my name is Lincoln, and my question is, have you ever tried to play a prank on a fellow astronaut using the unique environment of space?
Oh man, I love this question. Not yet, but we did contemplate doing one on April Fools, and that was removing a handrail that's popular in Node 1. So as people zoom through the lab, usually you catch yourself on one particular handrail, and if you move that out of the way, somebody could be coming in for breakfast and not have a way to stop. So we thought about it, but not yet. We haven't done one yet.
Hi, my name is Corey, and my question is, if you could have a pet in space, what kind of creature do you think would adapt best to zero gravity?
Ooh, I think an octopus would be really cool. Don Pettit is a really smart individual, and he's up here with us. We were discussing this over dinner the other day, but, you know, octopuses are really smart, and they've got these 8 limbs that don't have bones in them. You know, bones and muscle are a structure that we build because we have gravity that we need to be strong against, but in zero gravity, you don't necessarily need that. So I think an octopus would be really cool. It'd be really cool to see them adapt and start to learn how to move around the entire environment without gravity holding them down.
Hi, my name is Aubrey, and my question is, have you ever discovered any particular smells in space, and how do they compare to earthy scents?
Ooh, so I think the most unique smell is space. We have an airlock here in the Japanese module, and recently the robotic arm went out and grabbed an RPCM, which is like a little circuit breaker panel, and it put it in the airlock, and then we closed the outside door. We repressurized it, and then we, on the inside, opened the door, and I got to smell the space smells. And it's actually pretty unique. It's kind of like a burnt metal or welding fumes. You know, if you kind of think of like a metallic smell and burnt toast, and you put them together, that's what space smells like, and it's pretty cool.
Hi, my name is Luna, and my question is, what do you do if something breaks?
Luna, if something breaks up here, we have to fix it. So we can't call an electrician or a plumber or anything else. So we have a team on the ground that, they have the same parts and pieces on the ground, and they kind of figure out a procedure on how to fix it. They'll send that up to us, and then we'll work with them on fixing things. So I've worked on the ventilation system here. We just swapped out a part on a spacesuit today. So there are all sorts of things that we fix on a daily basis. The astronauts are the ones who maintain the space station. So the majority of what we do is the science and the research, but also we are the maintainers.
Hi, my name is Brady, and my question is, what's the most surprising item you've repurposed for entertainment while in orbit?
Ooh, I actually think that we answered that today. I brought it with me. So all I have here is just a clean, dark t-shirt. And actually, this is a great example of the ground team. We needed to see if the airflow that we were getting was clean. So we put this t-shirt on the end of an air duct, and then we let it blow air onto the t-shirt for about 3 minutes. And then we removed the t-shirt to see if there were any particulates or any debris or anything that we needed to be worried about in order to make sure the air was nice and clean while we fixed that spacesuit today. So just imagine like a random t-shirt repurposed to fix a spacesuit today.
Hi, my name is Emerson. My question is, can you see the same rainbow that we can see from Earth?
Emerson, so the rainbows, I think, are due to the sun angle on Earth. So I haven't seen any rainbows yet here, and I think we might be a little too far away from the clouds. But we do get to see the amazing clouds out there and the different heights of clouds. And we can see shadows from clouds, and we can see lightning storms. We can see all sorts of things, but not rainbows up here.
Hi, my name is Eva, and my question is, can you see other planets? If so, what can you see?
So without a telescope, we can definitely see other planets up here, but it's a similar view to what you guys have on the Earth. The other planets are so far away from us, they still show up as kind of small dots. So if you wanted to see the real details of a planet, you would have to get a telescope out even up here on the space station. We're 250 miles away from you guys, but the planets that you might want to see are hundreds of thousands of miles away. So you got to look real hard through a telescope to see details on planets.
Hi, my name is Asher Mack, and my question is, can you see a city or a house from the space station?
Yeah, so actually we can see cities, especially at night. All of the big cities show up really cool. We can see their lights from the cupola or from the window in the lab. And then also during the day, we can kind of see the cities. And then if you get a big telephoto lens out on the camera and zoom in really far to the Earth, you can see individual buildings. But so you could take pictures of those things. But just with your eyeballs, you can see kind of like the coastline. And for example, I saw Tampa just the other day. We flew right over Tampa, and I was able to see Tampa from the space station. And then I zoomed in with a camera, and I was able to see the Air Force Base that's right there and the city and the different buildings. So pretty cool.
Hi, my name is Roran, and my question is, what is the weirdest question you've asked yourself while being in space?
Oh man, the weirdest question I think is, where am I? On the first night when we slept in the Dragon spacecraft, I woke up and I felt like I was falling and I had no idea where I was. And then the second night when we were here in the space station, so my first night on the International Space Station, like I said, my crew quarters are in the deck or on the floor. And so I had to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And when I got up, I started to go to the bathroom, but as I was moving along the handrails, I realized I didn't recognize where I was because I was on the wall. And I had always been going on the deck. So I was at a completely different place and completely disoriented. So I've done that a couple times to myself where I get a little disoriented because your brain is still trying to figure out what's up and down and where you're at. And, like I told Levi earlier, people are on the wall, they're running on the wall, and it's just tough for your brain to get right. So it takes a little while for your brain to adapt. So I think the weirdest question is just, where am I?
Thank you all for being part of this incredible journey today. It has been a privilege to witness your enthusiasm and curiosity. The questions you've posed have shown us that the future of space exploration is indeed bright and promising. Remember, the universe is vast, and every one of you has the potential to contribute to its exploration. Keep dreaming, keep asking questions, and never stop reaching for the stars. Together, we can achieve unimaginable heights. Thank you, and safe travels on your own path to discovery.
And thank you to Academy at the Farm for letting me be a part of your afternoon today. Thank you, Ms. Cantwell and Mr. Borders, for organizing this. And thank you to all of the students at Academy at the Farm. I got to learn a little bit about Jonathan, Levi, and Maddie's classmates and schoolmates today, and I loved all of your questions, some amazing, thoughtful questions and creative questions. So hopefully you guys learned something, and as I prepared for this, I also learned something, and you know, it's an exciting time to be in space flight, an exciting time to be on the International Space Station, so keep your minds open, work hard, and go explore.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.